You guys can do your magic. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. It is noon on the Pacific Coast on the 9th of December, and we are almost exactly halfway through this 3-week module. So about in 30 minutes, we'll be halfway through this 3-week module, which is on cloud hands and is for everybody. Cloud hands is one of those moves that is iconic within all Tai Chi forms. And worth paying attention to, and also has the ability to teach some real basics. So we're excited about that. Last week, we had a bunch of furry friends with us, you'll recall, and I encouraged you all to do 2 things over the week, and I hope some of you did, to find a time to practice furry friends and get a sense, because it's a really good balance exercise, and to also practice feeling suspended from the tops of your heads. And in these sort of trying times with all sorts of things happening, and just it's the season when a lot is going on for many of us, walking around with your head suspended can be actually a nice, lovely mood elevator as well. So hopefully you guys did some practice this week when you were gone. We also explored our slow balance and introduced some hand and arm movements that we're going to need, and we're going to do more of that today, teaching, and also look at how we can coordinate what's going on in our center body and different parts of our body and connect them. So that's where we're at today. Let's warm up with just a few basic warm-ups, and each of our warm-ups is always something which helps us with our Tai Chi. So how about you see what you can do to have your feet pointing pretty straight ahead, but if that feels like you're pigeon-toed, yes, or that feels like, you know, you're out walking like a duck, don't do it. Do what makes you able to relax. So for me, actually, to do my exercises, I like to be just a little bit out. It makes me feel much, much easier to relax. Everybody's a little different on that. So we're not doing anything that has to be perfect right now. So just find a way with your feet kind of straight ahead so that you can feel relaxed. And then I want you to sort of feel that you're sinking into your feet. Just feel that you're sinking into your feet. And hook that head up, extended, hook to the very, very top of you. To a cloud, how about that? Or the sun. The sun's up there somewhere above the clouds. Maybe it's out on the East Coast or somewhere else today. I said it might be out for Rebecca. Rebecca is, trying to remember, in Arizona, maybe. Oh, and Holly. Holly, are you in Arizona? I have a feeling you might be in Arizona. Yeah. So maybe the sun is out there. So feel that. I want you to feel suspended. Remember, we talked about that. And I just saw some shoulders go down. Right. If you can feel suspended and that neck gets long and you're held from the top of your head and you're just kind of like a puppet that has some integrity to it, but is very sort of heavy. Maybe got sort of heavy feet or legs as this puppet. So feel those heavy feet and legs. And we're going to feel a stretch across our backs as we come up, floating arms out. And then we're going to let our knees bend a little as we push down, like we're pushing a ball into the water. And then we're just going to come back up and push down. You're still hooked to that cloud. Your feet are still heavy. Your knees are going out in the direction over your toes, no matter where your legs are pointing. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Can you feel just really easy, like you're going through water or a cloud? Have those are those shoulders lifting up? How about when your arms come up, you think of something going back behind your shoulders? I mean, a lever. Remember we did this before? We could even do this right now. We were bringing our arms up, but we actually brought them up by pushing down with a lever in the back. Oh, this is much better. Let's let those arms go down now. And when you bring them up this time, can we let that lever go down in the back so our shoulders do not come up and we're still suspended? Wonderful. And we could come up, out, and in, down, and out, and in. Part of what we're doing is coordinating our whole upper body with our lower body. Breathing as you do this may help you. Oh, this looks so good, you guys. Wow. All right. Lovely. Lovely. Good job. Fabulous. All right. I want to teach you a little bit about knee bumps. So it's not as important here as it is in some of our later Tai Chi work, but it's always important. So one of the things I call knee bumps, nobody else does, but I've got a little extra piece of tape here, right here. And you know, there's this upper thigh bone part of your leg, right? Goes down. And there's this lower thigh bone here. And I don't have leggings on, so that may not go straight, but you get the idea, right? It's not a thigh bone, excuse me. It's called something else, that lower leg bone. And we have a knee in between, right? You got a knee in between. I want to make sure that your knee, that sure doesn't look right. There we go. Maybe that's straighter. That your knee goes out in the direction of your toes when you bend them. So you can look down yourself and say, are my knees going out in the direction of my toes? And we don't want to go past your toes. We just want it to go in the right direction. And what I'd like you to do is shift your weight over a little bit so that the weight's on your heel on this side. And then I want you to turn your whole leg, the knee, and the part below it, and the foot there, okay? That kind of a turn. And then I want you to shift your weight over here and feel that whole leg pivoting on your heel, the whole leg pivoting on your heel. If you can even open that joint up so you're not actually turning your whole hips, you're just turning the leg and turning your leg, okay? Now, I want to do that, shifting over here, and I want you to do that, but then I want you to bend your knee when one is out to the corner. Bump, 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 bump. Great. This also develops our strength. Let's do it on the other side. Bump, 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 bump. And when we keep straight, like we were doing this last time, I believe, we went step in, remember that? step in, kind of like we're dancing. It's a good warm up. When you do that little bump, that little bend, make sure that your knee is going in the direction, and you can do this whatever pace you want. Everybody has their natural pace and their natural challenges with this. Just want to make sure you're conscious that your knees go there. Because after all, we're stepping out and then we're bumping both knees forward. And then we can step in and bump both knees forward. Stepping out, bump, shift, step, bump, and out, bump, up, shift, bump. Now, when we do cloud hands, we'll stay down all the time, but I want you to have a chance I want you to just get a start to build in your body a sense that this gets aligned. You don't do something, if you can see me, if you have me centered on your screen, you don't want to do something like that, where I'm just using my ankle, right? You don't want to do something, and you certainly don't want to do something like this, right? Where your knee is not in line with your toe, okay? And start to just get a feel for that. It's actually, part of it comes from the fact that when you're closed here in your hip joint, your knees go straight. But when you open that whole joint and turn those bones to the right or the left, you turn them out, then you open right here. This is very similar to opening this joint like this. Like this. And we're going to get into more of that other days. But I just wanted to introduce the knee bumps to you because it's always important. You'll hear me talking about aligning your knees with your toes. And even in something as simple and as difficult, frankly, as the kind of move we worked on last time when we were, you know, moving back and forth this way. Nice job. Hook that head up to the top and feel your feet. We're going to go back. We're going to go back the other direction now. We're not stepping in the whole way now, and I'm keeping my knees a little bent. The more you bend your knees, this is a great exercise. If you want to bend your knees more, you'll find that your legs will get very strong. In cloud hands, we step out a larger step, move our weight over, and then bring our foot in to shoulder width. And then we step out a larger step, pull our weight over, shift our weight over, and step in, but we don't step in all the way. We'll be doing more of that next week, but right now you can take with you the assignment, not only furry friends and being up, but also this idea of knee bumps. Always being conscious of where your knee is, and this idea that, can I do this? How far would you go out? Well, it depends on how much you bent your knee. If your knees will bend a lot, you could step out way far. And if you were balanced. If you're not, if your knees aren't bent much, then you can only step out, as far as you can step out and still keep this line right over your heel. Does that make sense? Because I need to be stacked up right over the leg that's supporting me. Watch how that moves. So this is something that you can work on this week, and you can even put your hands on a counter if you are if you have challenges to your balance. And I'm going to tell you a little secret right now. Have you ever been out hiking any time in your life when you had to go up or down someplace that was just a little scary for you, like you thought you might slip, was going to be a real balance challenge? And all there was brush around you. And what you did is you grabbed the best branch or whatever you could near you. Has anybody else had this experience? Because a lot of people have this experience. Okay. And if it's a really good branch, you know, you grab that branch and then you just keep going where you want it to go, right? And then sometimes what you've learned over your life, or many of us have learned, that even if the twig would not hold you, grabbing that branch helps. And interestingly enough, this turns out to be true. There is something about your brain and your body realizing that that it's got something there, and that it's integrated, more of it's integrated together, and then it moves better. So let's just try this one more time. And you can try this again. You could be on a counter, but let's actually imagine we're on a counter, like our arms are on a counter. I want you to really imagine it. I want you to shift your weight over onto this side and then put your foot out. And feel the counter, feel the counter, feel the counter, feel the counter. It's going to help you to balance. Yeah. And then come back. Isn't that surprising to those of you who have some balance issues? That it's not just having your, now we're going to sway a little over here, get balanced, and go out. So this is something you can practice on a real counter, but you can also put your hands just out like this, or even out like this. So when we do cloud hands later on, in a way that helps us have this counter feeling. And it will help us with our balance. Some of us here have more balance challenge than others, but everybody has some. So keep that in mind as we're moving forward. All right, I want you to get your chair now. I want to So get your chair, sit yourself down. I'm going to come fairly close. And I want you to see if you can turn your shoulders. Have your butt really firmly, it can be on the edge of the chair a little bit, but I want it firmly stuck. So make sure your butt is firmly stuck and you're still being able to be held up. Oh, you guys look great. As you guys know how to hold your heads up and keep your shoulders down. Love it. Okay. So, so our heads turn around our shoulders, right? I want to explore how your upper body turns around your spine. So we can turn our shoulders, right? We can turn our shoulders, feel that turning a little bit, see that turning. I want you to now imagine that you have a marker right coming out of like your belly button. And don't move your shoulders. Keep your shoulder, let your shoulders be a part of your whole torso. And just draw, see how far you can draw. Maybe it's an inch line back and forth. Maybe it's further. Without letting your shoulders go, what have you got? Some of us will have a little, some of us will have a lot, and some of us will have more as the day goes on, as we warm up our bodies. All right? So see how far, get that sense of turning from the very center of you. This point right down here. Yes, my cat's getting interested in this point. You're not coming up. You're not coming up just because I'm in a chair. No, you're not coming up. All right, now I want you to see what happens if we turn to this side and you push on the floor a little bit with this leg, this leg over here. Does that help you a little bit? Turn a little further? Come, yeah, I'm seeing nods. Isn't that amazing? Explore that. Explore how your foot grounding and your head, like you've got a pole you're turning around, but your opposite side foot grounding helps you get a little bit more. This is where integrating our bodies and coordinating them and exploring them is really going to help with everything, and especially our Tai Chi. And now I want you to let, our spines, and I want you to be very careful, always the 70% rule, right? You don't go too far, right? But our spine is actually built to be a little bit like a spring, to spring, coil and knot, and our shoulders are part of that. So let's start pushing with the foot, push with the foot, turn with the belly, and then let the shoulders go where they go. Are you going further now? Then push with the other foot and let your body turn. Turn as much with the belly button as you can, and the shoulders go a little further. And push with the other foot. We do a lot of this in Tai Chi. For one thing, it helps us to balance, it helps us to shift our weight. But more than any of that, it actually helps to integrate us and power us, getting the power from our interaction with the floor and moving up. Now, your butt couldn't move and your hips couldn't move. And you're going to have to move. And so let's get up. Now the trick is feet about shoulder width apart. Can you keep these hips where they are? Don't let them turn. Don't let them turn. Keep those legs, knees, all of that right where they are. Keep the hips right where they are. Belly button, how far can you turn? Just what you just did. Secure that. So we shouldn't see you see how quiet my bottom is, my legs are? You should not feel your legs moving. Oh, and how many shoulders are coming up? Don't let those shoulders up. There you go. There you go. All right, so let's try this again. We're going to push with this foot this time and draw with our belly button and let our shoulders go a little bit too. And then we're going to push with the other foot a little bit. Both feet are on the ground and do the same thing. You should find that you have a lot of grounding and stability when you do this. Experiment with that. One side and then the other. Now, keep your head going forward for a second. We'll just make the turns little. When you do this, we're not going to let our hips go. It's not going to look like this, right? You see? Do you see how I'm turning my whole hip and the leg goes with it or the knee goes with it? No. Hips stay where they are, just your belly button. You may only be able to go an inch or two. Just your belly button. That's it. Just your belly button. And then remember that push with the other foot. The push with the other foot that helps you do it. Yeah, this is good. And now, and you're staying right around the pole. that goes all the way up your spine and out the top of your head. And now you're going to let your shoulders go a little further too. And let your arms just swing. Let your arms just swing. See how your body turning, your torso turning can move your arms. Because we're going to do more of that today. All right. So what we were doing, reminder, you can practice this as well. We were securing our lower body and we were exploring, really loosening up this area right here in the lower back. You don't want to go too far, but a lot of us have a lot of tension in that. And the more flexibility you can get in that, dancers have a lot of flexibility there. The more flexibility you can get in that lower back and in your spine, the more you're able to ground yourself at the same time and get power and coordination from your legs and move that power into your arms with, say, a swing, right? So right now, let's ground ourselves. Sometimes we've said in this class before, think of being a gorilla, whatever is comfortable to you, and just get this sense, small movements, that your arms can swing, right? You're not, yeah, lovely. You're not doing it. You're not doing it. Don't let the hips move, just your center. All right, so these are things that you can practice at home. Let's get back to cloud hands. Do you remember last time we did a Queen's wave? Remember that? Queen's wave. And do you remember we did it this way? I think we did it this way. So we actually started down here and we held a bag of apples. It was a big bag of apples. It opened our armpits and yeah, there you go. And our shoulders were down, nice. And it's a little bit heavy, right? It's a little bit heavy. And we brought it up a little bit, sort of like if I were glancing down, I could sort of read my notes. And then let's just cross those arms a little bit. And we experimented with this exercise. We Queen's waved those hands. So we came up, we turned the forearm, and then we pulled out. Do you remember that? Queen's wave. Queen's wave. That Queen's wave is just turning here. And there's one other thing to it. In Tai Chi, we won't go into a lot of this now. In Tai Chi, we have these lovely, remember this? This. See how we have this really lovely extended circle? Part of a circle, arc. When we Queen's wave, I'm going to Queen's wave this hand right now. When we Queen's wave, I want you to see how it ends up. Do you see how that arc is the same arc? I didn't end up like this, right? I've got the same arc, right? So sometimes I've talked about these Queen's waves as almost kind of pushing out at the end, right? Because that gives you this nice, lovely arc. You get that? We're always part of a circle. Yeah. And it doesn't matter how high we are. We could be really low here, or we could be high. It doesn't matter right now which arm is in front. We did this last time too. Remember that? Yeah, we kept our elbows quiet and we're just kind of like a doll. And we kept this area as if we had something underneath it. And then we tried something like this. Remember that? Yeah, we just kind of circled them around. Yeah, exactly. Keeping this there and not getting up too high, would get our shoulders. Just, yeah, lovely. You guys are getting there. It doesn't matter which way you go right now. I just want you to get a sense of doing circles. So up. We are going to, we probably talked about this last time. Imagine connecting and grabbing and pulling. That's that Queen's wave. And this elbow just stays there. And then we let it fall. And it comes up. Queen's wave. Pull. Fall. Up. Queen's wave. Pull. Like you grabbed and pulled. And we even drew this oval. Do you remember that? Because sometimes it's easier if you just imagine painting, right? And with the other arm, Queen's wave, out, pull, and let it fall. And Queen's wave, pull, let it fall. And your elbow just kind of stays there. Just kind of stays there. And if it was a finger, you'd be turning it out and you'd be drawing a circle. And then at some point that elbow just stays there and you go down and you come up. Let's cross our arms. Again, I don't care which one's in front. And Queen's wave, just this one arm, pull. Now, this one's gonna go up and Queen's wave, and this one is gonna go, the other one's gonna go down. Pull. And they're gonna meet on the other side. Inside arm goes up. Pull till they meet on the other side. Inside arm goes up. Inside arm goes up. Inside arm goes up. Inside arm goes up. Inside, and again, it could be low, depends on how your shoulders are. It could be higher, but you never want your fingertips higher than your nose. Okay? Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to get our arms over here. And then, yeah, and if they want to be down here, that's fine too. wherever works for your shoulders. Let's actually take a minute. There we go. And then one up and out. Okay, now inside up, but now I want you to push with the foot on this side to power this hand out and turn your body. Don't turn those hips. Hips stay forward. Then push with your other foot to power your body as you come to the other side. Push with the foot on your hand side to power you to get to the other side. Push with the foot on the hand side to power you to get to the other side. The push turns, allows you to help you turn, and the turn is actually sort of throwing your arms. Now, hook that, you want to, what Kelly calls a Tai Chi pole, right in the center of you. Right in the center of you. You want to turn your spine, oh lovely, around that Tai Chi pole. Keep that chin up. Extend those arms. Looking good. I know there's some of you who are doing this for the very first time. And if it seems really weird or difficult, that's normal. That's really normal. Yeah. And you may find you're using muscles you haven't used in a long time, right? So don't overuse them. 70% rule. Rima, can I help?
Yeah, a question.
Yeah.
At one point you were saying that your finger or your elbow would draw an oval, and at another point you said a circle. And I'm wondering if the circle was maybe just part of this exercise, because it looks like when you're pulling, you are moving your elbow out some.
Yes, yes. Actually, you are extending some, and you're also opening a little bit here. So actually, it's not just like this. Like this would be a circle, right? Yeah. You are extending. You see on my how there's a little more room under here.
Yeah.
And yeah, you are. And eventually, if you turn enough in your center and your shoulders, your hand will actually point to the side of the room. But don't worry about trying to get there, because what I don't want you to do is this. I don't want you to open too far. We always talk about being able to hug a tree. So even if it gets to be a big tree, that's okay. But we don't want to be like so big that you can't see the circle. Okay. So let's shake it out and try that one more time. What I'd like you to do, actually, let's center ourselves. I want you right around your Tai Chi pole, paying the most attention to that, so that you're absolutely straight up and down. And then let's bend our knees just a little bit, just softened. If you want to be bent more, because that's really comfortable, you want to also, that's fine. And it may be easier to turn your middle that way. To those of you who are used to that, if you are going to bend more, I suggest you bend more like you're about to sit down. We're not going to work on a whole lot of that today. And then let's lever, remember the back lever. And now do you have that pole like going through your body? And then let's close your arms for the moment. And let's take this arm, and we're not going to just move it. We're going to turn. And then this arm's going to come up as we push with this foot. Push and till they meet. Now, are you still centered? Are you still centered?
I have a question. When I'm finished pushing, am I on the other foot?
You start pushing.
Right here, yeah.
You start pushing with the foot where you're on the side that your arms are. Yeah. And you bring your weight back. Your weight is always on both feet. Both feet are firmly planted on the ground right now. But you feel this extra push. So I start pushing on this side, and then I start pushing on this side. I don't know if you can see me. And I always keep my arms pretty far out. Okay, let's try it a little bit more. So whatever is comfortable, you can be down, you can be up. You can have your arms higher or lower, doesn't matter. I want you to do one queen's wave, but don't just do it. Turn your belly button and be around that pole. Have a real sense that you're still straight up and down. Now, we're going to push a little bit with that foot on this side where our arms are to help power this turn right in the center to go around that pole. And then on the other side, to go around that pole. Be very conscious of that pole. Back and forth. Inside arm goes up. arms, foot pushes. This is looking good, guys. All right, any more questions? I want to show you the whole thing, or parts, a little bit of it moving. Next week, we're going to add more movement to it, and then I'll take final questions. But if we are here, we're going to have stepped out and shift over. And when we have to have a really good pole here, because we're going to step in and then push with that foot where the arms are to bring our weight over onto this side. And do you see how my weight has come over onto this side? And we're going to step out when it's over there. And we'll be stepping every time our arms get to the side because we'll have all of our weight there, right? That's what's coming next time. And then we will solidify this and you'll have the beginnings of cloud hands. So hopefully this helps. All right, any other questions? It looks like we're good. All right, let's finish up. I actually want to try, I just want to try one more exercise and then we'll finish with dragging our fingers through the sand. So let's stand shoulder width apart. This you can do at home as well. Just align yourself. Feel like the lower back is really soft and long. Feel like your head is held on a golden cord from the sky. Feel that your knees are soft. We're going to feel the back of our shoulders getting wider, turning our upper arms. Our arms are going to float up. And we're going to not bend our knees. We're just going to push down. And come back, and one more time. We're going to feel that expansion across our shoulder blades, turning our arms like we had helium in them and they're very extended. And then our upper arms and our elbows droop and we're like pushing down a ball into water. There's a little resistance until we can't push anymore. Now we're going to drag our fingers through the sand. Warm sand. Grab some up if you want to. Go up on your toes, squeeze, and relax. And drag those fingers through the warm sand. Feel it. Grab some up, squeeze that warmth, and relax. And drag your fingers through the sand. Squeeze and relax. Fabulous. This is our, for those of you who are new, it's a fist. It's a fist with your right hand. It's a hand on the other side, and you can put your thumb there, and then it's like this. That's just a way of saying hi and bye. So, but you can do whatever you want. It works too. All right, any last minute comments? We doing okay? Carol, is this working for you? Okay, good. Wonderful. Wonderful. Do some of this stuff. I'm particularly interested in hearing next week if you tried any of this kind of balance stuff when you were actually had some place you could hang on to, but also didn't, and whether you felt you had better balance when you pretended that you had something to hold on to. Because oftentimes that is true for many, many people. And it's a good tip. It means that if we get our brains going about thinking about it, it integrates our body more, and it just makes it easier for us to do things that otherwise would be difficult. Right? All right. Yeah, Maria?
Yeah. Did I hear you say that the knee has to be right in front of the toe? Is that it? Because mine tend to go inward.
So everybody is built differently. And if when you're just standing straight, your knees go inward a little, that's called being knock-kneed.
Yes.
I was knock-kneed for years. In fact, extended, like it turned out, I've had knee replacements now and they took care of that. 10% on each side. That's a lot, actually. That's a whole lot. It meant that, you know, I was always like this. I could put, if I put my feet together, my knees were literally, like one knee was literally 4 inches in front of the other in order to make it work. So I get that. What you want to do is just never make sure you don't aggravate that. So if your knees are pointed forwards, if they're pointed forwards, like if the bendy part is pointed forwards in the direction of your toes, I'm okay. If the bendy part is, you know, the top of your kneecap is not pointed in the direction of your front foot or your toes, then you need to open here, because that's going to help. So
yes,
it's like opening here with your arms.
That helps.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
All right, guys, we actually did this, and I violated my own rule about continuing to talk. But I'm going to stop the recording, and then if you have more questions, I'll be here for a little while.
Thanks, Dini.
Thank you, Didi.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Bye-bye.